Hi guys, I'm Russell and I make guide and race videos for iRacing. If that sounds like it's up your street, please do consider hitting subscribe and maybe that little bell for more. So what we're doing today, we are trying to discover 5 things that really make successful sim racers. The guys that have 5, 6, 7, 8,000 iRating, that always win the races and leave us mere mortals for dust. So I'm not an alien. Um, I can't really speak with authority on this topic. So what I've done is I have taken the analytical approach. I've canvassed the iRacing community. I had 500 responses to my little questionnaire that was really designed to sort of try and narrow in on the traits that make those successful sim racers stand out from the rest of us. So, in no particular order, here are the 5 things that I think are going to help me become a better sim racer and hopefully help you do the same. So, stick around, guys. Cheers. Okay, so what's my first habit of a highly successful sim racer? Well, it's commitment. It's putting in the hours, doing the work to get good at what you want to do. Uh, Kind of goes without saying, really, but it warrants a mention here. So, as it transpires, 59% of the really fast guys that I surveyed spend between 5 and 14 hours a week in iRacing, uh, driving their cars. So what does that work out as? That's basically between 1 and 2 hours a night driving, um, and that's a pretty realistic uh, amount of time if you're determined to do well and get fast. It doesn't sound entirely unreasonable to me. One of the other things that was quite interesting is they've spent a bit of money on their equipment to, make sure they've got the best chance of doing the best they can. Interestingly, though, the fastest guys haven't spent the most money by any stretch of the imagination. It's the people like me, all the gear and no idea, um, that are spending top dollar on their equipment. The average high-end sim racer likes their gear. No arguments there. But the really fast alien guys don't spend more money. If anything, they spend a little bit less. So, on to habit number 2. As it turns out, the fast guys like to specialize. Um, of everyone surveyed, 35% only play iRacing. They don't play any other sim racing game. That's it. Um, Another 35% beyond that only play one other game. In this case, it was Assetto Corsa. So that's interesting. But more interesting than that is that they specialize within iRacing to particular cars and series a lot more than average sim racers. I kind of spread myself around quite a lot. I do various series, and I do that partly because I want to, and partly because I'm trying to make sort of varied content for a YouTube channel. But um, it's one of those jack of all trade situations where you can be reasonably good at lots of things, but really not excel at anything. So what I've actually found is out of the highest rated iRacers, um, they actually only took part in 2 official series on average during a season. And to qualify that, that means they had to have taken part in at least 6 races um, of that particular season. Um, so they're driving between 1 and 2 cars basically day in, day out. They're getting really good with that car. They know that car inside out. They're not just jumping to the fastest car that week. Uh, you know, um, Lately there's been a lot of Ford GT action, and now at the moment it's come back round to the BMW M8. That's the car du jour right now. So everyone's jumping in it, assuming they're going to get faster. But actually, in reality, if you stick with a car, it seems, regardless of whether it is actually the fastest car, the chances are you're going to perform better in it. You know what that car's going to do. You know how to get that last ounce of power out of it. you're actually better off sticking with what you know than jumping to whatever anybody else is hot lapping at the moment. So, what about habit number 3? Well, it's practice. Practice, practice, practice. Um, it turns out that the top 15% of the people that responded to my little survey, as pivoted by iRating, so the highest 15% iRating respondents, spend 75% of their time when they're in iRacing practicing for those high strength of field races. Now, there is no better practice than racing. I think that still holds true, but when you're in an open practice session with other cars, that can always simulate racing. So I think, you know, it's a really clear that they spend a lot more time practicing than the average iRacing player, according to this survey, which is quite interesting. Again, fairly obvious perhaps, but it's good to see it proved out. Um, I do, however, just want to give a one finger salute to the 3% of people that responded to my survey to say that they do not put a single lap of practice in before they jump into an official race. Let's put that into perspective. So let's say we've got a race with 300 participants. Obviously, that's going to be split across various splits. Of those people, 9 of them have not done a single lap of practice. Um, so thanks for that, guys. Please don't be that guy, and put in those practice laps. What's the fourth habit of a highly successful sim racer? Well, it's that they like to spend time developing their skills. So practice is one thing, but there's no point doing 50 laps if all you're going to do is cement bad habits, and ultimately probably just get slower. What these people are doing, and 80% of the fastest racers do this. So this is probably one of the best pieces of advice in this entire guide, according to the data at least, is to really sort of try and develop your skills. Maybe that's reading a book, maybe that's going on YouTube. Half of those 80% of people, if that makes sense, they use video guides as one of their sources. So that could be a track guide on YouTube, that could be a service like VRS or PDS. I'll leave links to those down below. Paid services basically to get setups and walkthroughs on how to use X car on X track. As it turns out, 76% of the top end racers that I asked said that they would say a service like Virtual Racing School or Pure Driving School as in some way help them to improve at some point. They're not saying that it's the best thing ever, but they are saying that it has had a positive impact on their driving. But ultimately, the outcome of this is that they are not just aimlessly driving around the track 50 times and then jumping into a race. They're actively trying to improve their craft in some way or other. The majority of them actually use YouTube or a paid online service to do that. So, what's the fifth and final habit of a highly successful sim racer that I have in this guide? It is that they try and learn from their mistakes. The vast majority of the top rated drivers will review races that they've done. They'll record and review them or just watch the replays. They will look at incidents that they've been in, either that they've caused or that have happened to them, to see if there was any way they could have avoided it, or to sort of learn what to look for the next time that kind of sort of situation arises again. They are actively trying to improve, be that avoidance or be that awareness of what they're doing right or wrong. And I think that's really important. And it's something I try and do. You know, I don't want to be that guy that ruins everyone's race. I try and give room. And on occasions, it can, you can feel like you're given room, but actually, when you look back on the replay, that's not the case. Or you can feel like something's happened to you. You look back on the replay, and actually, you've been the cause of it. Um, but that's the interesting thing about iRacing. You know, there is no blame apportionment in racing incidents or crashes or anything of that nature. You know, everybody gets penalised. So it's actually in your interest to try and actively avoid problems. So I thought that was a really interesting one. Probably not the most important short term gain wise, but long term, um, and for the sake of your sanity, I think trying to learn from mistakes, be them yours or somebody else's, is probably a really, really good thing. Um, so those were my 5 traits. I hope they were useful. I hope they that there's something there that you can put into action for yourself if you want to become a better sim racer. If you've got any tips, if you've got any feedback, please do drop a comment below. If you like the video, please do give it a like. And if you'd like to see more, hit subscribe, and I will see you soon. Cheers, guys.